the first 14 days of a listing, you're going to get the most traction. Statistically, you see that graph just go down. Welcome to the Orion Law podcast, where we simplify everything legal.
Welcome to the Orion Law podcast, and absolute pleasure to have you here. I am with Karien Hunter. Hello, Karien.
Hello, Luke.
Welcome to Durban.
Thank you.
And really good to be able to start this project and take the listeners on a journey with us. Karien, could you introduce yourself to us and the listeners? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what we're going to be doing over the next little while with the new content coming out and what we're trying to achieve here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Luke. And thank you for having me on. I'm actually so excited to be talking to you today and also talking to our listeners. And I think there's going to be some great takeaways. Just some background on me. I've been around for quite a long time and have been passionate about the law. I am a practicing lawyer and conveyancer, and with about 40 years experience behind me. I'm pleased to say that it was a most enjoyable journey, and over the years I have become a specialist in all things property related, property law, but not only property law, but the whole ecosystem of property. So to kick off, if you do own property and you want to put it on the market, now what would most people do? What would be their first step? And if you don't mind, Luke, my asking you, I know you are a property owner and you might consider selling your property, if I understand you correctly. So are there any particular concerns or questions you might want to raise?
I think the first question as a property owner who we are potentially looking at selling our home in 1 to 2 years, maybe 3 years, is what are the first steps we need to take to prepare our property and prepare ourselves for the market?
That's such a good question because there's always a reason for selling as there is a reason for buying. So we don't need to take a deep dive into your reasons for selling at this point in time. So sometimes there's urgency in selling, such as in, sad to say, the Ds, death, divorce, departure. Those are the 3 Ds. But outside of that, if there is no urgency in selling, I would suggest that you start making yourself a master of your local property market and educating yourself in terms of what the market conditions are and the cycle, the property cycle. So you don't want to be selling in a downward cycle. You would want to sell in an upward cycle. But then if you want to sell to purchase, you want to actually buy in when the market probably is a little bit on a downward cycle. So do your own homework, starting with the macroeconomics of property generally in the country, interest rates and so on. But then closer to home, start looking at in your area at for sale boards. So see which agent and agency is the most active in your area, because they will be the most knowledgeable. Also have a look to see who has the most sold boards and how long it took for that for sale board to become a sold board. And so now you know who the local experts are in your area. Your particular area would probably be the block where you live, or the estate where you live, or the sectional title complex, and a radius of 5 kilometers, and then 10, and so on and so forth. So, make yourself a master of the property market in your area, so you speak with authority. And then in terms of your property itself, don't overcapitalize. Your property must be neat, it must be clean, and properties do sell on bathrooms and kitchens. So if those are outdated, I wouldn't pull out the carpet, the cupboards and redo that unless you do it for your own enjoyment, but see if you can make it look a little bit more contemporary with a lick of paint or some small improvements. So get your property seller ready.
Okay.
And then thirdly, when you list the property, there are pros and cons to signing a sole mandate with a good agent. And there are pros and cons to actually opening the market to all and sundry. But just a little hint here. If an agent has a hot buyer and another agent has a sole mandate over a property, you know what a sole mandate is. You want the agent that you choose to spend money, their money, not your money, their money, on marketing your property.
So is that a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Okay.
But they're not going to spend their money on marketing your property unless they have an exclusive mandate, which means to the exclusion of other agents.
So no one else can sell the property?
Yes,
to go through them.
only that agent can market and sell your property.
Okay.
But you give them an exclusive mandate for a period of, say, 30 days to 6 weeks to 2 months. Never make it too long. Keep it short, and I'll tell you why. So, and then you need to have a clear understanding and agreement with them what they are going to do to put your property in the marketplace. Bear in mind, you think your property is the best one in the area. They may disagree, but they won't tell you that. And you're competing against other properties in the area. So they need to make your property stand out. And you want to ask them, are they going to spend money on premium listings on Prop24, Private Property and other portals? Are they going to, do they have a database that they can share it with? Are they with a strong agency where there are other agents within the agency that can also promote your property? So an important thing to consider is, in as much as you think you're dealing with an individual estate agent, they sit within an agency and the mandate goes to the agency. And that obviously then includes all the agents within that agency. So having said all of that, if another agent phones you and you've now signed an exclusive mandate with one agent, you just tell them to contact that agent. And generally speaking, your listing agent with the exclusive mandate, if there is a hot buyer, would be happy to share commission with the other agent, and they will then not preclude that sale, but they're not under a legal obligation to do so. But that's just how the market works. Then also bear in mind that the first 14 days of a listing, you're going to get the most traction. Statistically, you see that graph just go down in terms of views received on Prop24, Private Property and other portals after a period of 14 days. Because when a property is newly listed, it goes to the top of the listing page. Then, so important, I think that's the most important thing, and reputable agents always try and convey that to potential sellers, and sellers tend to not want to hear this. You have to correctly price your property if you're a serious seller. Because if you overprice your property, statistically it's been proven time and time again that you end up selling your property for much less than what you should have received as an offer in the first instance if you started too high.
Okay, so how would you sorry to interrupt.
Yes, that's fine.
How would you go about evaluating it properly?
So the best way to do that is to, as I said, identify the agent you think you might want to work with, and then identify 2 other agencies or agents that you also want to talk with. So now it's almost like when you get a quote to have building work done at your home, you would get 3 quotes. So get a sense of what each of them, how they value your property. They will all give you a valuation presentation that would include statistics. And some agents might want to overprice your property to purchase or buy a mandate. So you have to watch out for that as well. So don't always go with the agent that gives you the highest valuation. Go with the one that you feel you can trust the most and who has the most experience. and ask for references on clients that they'd recently dealt with. So take your time in selecting the right agent. But to answer your question more specifically with regard to valuation, even before you contact agents, for a small amount of money on Prop24 and private property, you can do a desktop assessment of your own property yourself.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, they do have tools where you can actually assess the market value of your property. If you own a sectional title property, that is relatively straightforward because the deeds office registers the actual size of the building. And so you have better comparables. But if you, let's say are you in a freestanding home?
Freestanding home.
Okay, excellent. So if it's 1,000 squares and there's another property next to you with 2,000 squares, now how do you compare apples with pears and so on and so forth? So, or you might have a similar sized land next door to you or in your area, but you might have 2 bathrooms, 2 garages, 4 bedrooms. Next door, they may only have 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. So those things do come into play. So that's why ultimately you would need the input from estate agents, resident agents, if I can call them that. Do your own homework and summary, talk to agents, get quotes from 3 estate agents, and make sure that your property is in a sellable condition before you get them in.
Very important. Another little thing that we've learned is to stage your home.
Okay, so in terms of staging your property, that doesn't happen as frequently as people may think. And my personal view is that if you just take away the clutter, clean up the clutter, and you might not like this, or the listeners might not like this, take down your family photographs, stick them in a drawer, because you want buyers to walk in and feel, this can be my home. I can live here. Can I please go and sit on that couch in those comfy, scatter cushions and this beautiful vibe? I'll mention what my mom did when we sold our home as a child. She was into coffee before coffee was a big thing. So she brewed a pot of coffee before just before an agent was due to bring buyers through. Lo and behold, they bought the property, and my mum to this day believes that they bought the property because of the aroma of the coffee in the house. So also make sure there are no smelly stuff. And if you've got pets, I know people love their pets. I don't know if you've got pets, Luke.
Yeah, we do. But outside pets.
Outside pets, good. You don't want fluff and that yucky look that you sometimes. I love pets too, but and the pet smells in the home.
Yeah.
So just take care of your pets, and then clean, neat garden is important, and then roadside frontage. The first impressions always count. 100%. So I hope I've answered your question.
Absolutely. It's the same as selling anything. You want it to you want it to look in the best condition as you can, because you want it to appeal to the person who's going to potentially buy it. So saying that, in terms of renovating homes and fixing stuff, example, we've got a pool deck, a really large deck that needs to be replaced, unfortunately.
Okay.
And it's quite a sizable chunk of cash that we need to get to fund this project. We can't sell the property without that, because we're going to be down the value of the replacement of that deck. So what kind of advice would you have around
those are lifestyle investments. First and foremost, ask yourself, do I need to do this for myself and my family?
Okay.
And if I need to do this for myself and my family, I probably need to do this for future buyers as well.
Exactly. Okay.
But if your only motivation is to try and increase the value of your property, I would say no. What you're talking about is also partly repairs and maintenance. A shoddy deck would actually diminish the value of your property more than the cost of fixing or replacing that deck. And what you seem to be talking about is a major feature of your house.
Very big feature.
And that's a selling feature.
It's probably the selling point of the house.
You know what? Before you spend any kind of money there, get your resident agent in and let them give you advice for free.
Yeah.
And you just tell them, I'll be in contact in 2 to 3 years' time, if and when we're ready to sell. But before I make this investment, I want to know that I'm not over-capitalizing on this particular property in this particular area.
I think maybe one more question from my side will be, if we're needing to say, example for us, do this deck replacement, how much would be too much when reinvesting into the property? At what point do we have to start making other plans?
Okay, that is a very generic question. So it depends entirely on factors such as your affordability,
Okay,
interest rate cycles, and what your willingness to spend, shall I say. And I get back to this point that whatever you do should be an enhancement of your own lifestyle. Best thing, again, get 3 quotes, then speak to an estate agent, ask them how much is too much from a financial point of view to reinvest into my property. The market determines the value, not the estate agent, not you, actually the buyer and the market forces as such. So again, check in with your estate agent before you spend a fairly substantial sum of money, but get the quotes first.
that's awesome. Thank you, Karien. So just to summarize what we've spoken about, we spoke about the importance of getting a trusted estate agent.
Yes.
Looking at using a sole mandate and getting your property prepared and curbside ready to appeal to the potential buyers. Have I missed anything there?
You've hit it on the nail.
Okay.
And what I would like to add to that is, I'm talking not only on behalf of myself as a property lawyer, but I would say most property lawyers, conveyancers, would be very happy to journey with you from the day that you actually list your property.
That's
so
awesome.
If you have property advisor, as it were, on speed dial, to phone if and when you receive an offer, or just to look over the terms of a sole mandate or exclusive mandate, or even look at the valuation. We want agents to do what they do well, but we partner with them. We're all in the same ecosystem to give you the best result. That's awesome. On the Orion platform, we actually do have exclusive mandates, sole mandates, open mandates, sellers' declarations that we will talk about later. So we do have resources on the platform that would be really helpful even at the start of your property journey in wanting to potentially sell your property.
That's awesome. And that's all available at orionlaw.co.za.
That's it.
Thank you so much for that. Really, really helpful. To all the listeners, go check out orionlaw.co.za where all these resources are available to you. And please subscribe, like, share this podcast with a friend or family member who could also benefit from this. I'm really excited to see the launch of this project and what this is going to do for people like us.
Only a pleasure, Luke. It was lovely chatting with you today. I'm looking forward to further chats. Thank you for listening to the Orion Law podcast. For more practical legal guidance, please visit orionlaw.co.za or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.